welcome to another one of our films.
This time we just wanted to take a look back at an amazing year following Orca in the UK.
It's been pretty amazing.
We're currently at the end of the year. It's the end of November and we're having an amazing time on Shetland, and we're just finishing the year off with even more Orca sightings.
So our year following Orca began in March when we took a trip up to the Isle of Skye in the hope of seeing John Cone Aquarius, our two favourite orcas.
Yes. We'd previously seen them before and we just wanted that chance to see them again. We didn't actually think we were going to, because it's two animals that could literally be anywhere.
Absolutely anywhere.
And I think the last place they were seen was Ireland before we saw them.
Yeah.
But yeah, it took us 5 days sitting out at Nice Point. And yeah, they come right past us.
Yeah, we gave ourselves quite a short amount of time, so we weren't really expecting much. But yeah, it worked out and we were absolutely overjoyed to see two fins pass right in front of us, and it was really cool.
And it was one of our longer encounters with them as well, because they got sighted earlier in the day and we were just sat there waiting for them. We weren't going to give up until the light went, and it was just getting cold and a little bit darker. Then all of a sudden, yeah, I spotted, I think it was Aquarius maybe, his fin right in front. I was like, they're here. And yeah, they
so happy. The waves and stuff were really, really big as well, so the weather was quite against us, but we still saw them and they hung around in front of us for quite a while, and they passed right by the edge of the rocks, so that was really cool to see. They were quite close to land, just we weren't right at the edge because of the waves quite big and they were splashing up, but it was absolutely incredible. Yeah,
it's a bit different to the first time we saw them, because that was really calm. The beginning of the day, it was really good visibility, and then this time the waves were all choppy, sea spray everywhere, wind, but it was still just as amazing.
Oh, it was great. It was amazing to see them. So then our next trip, we went up to mainland Scotland, and we started off at Fraserburgh, which is just not far from Aberdeen, and we sat there for quite a while, quite a few days, and we were lucky enough to see the 169s with Orca and Trinky pass by Kinnaird Head, and we were really lucky. It was a pod that we hadn't seen before, so it was really epic to see them.
Orca and Trinky are two bulls that were accompanying them.
Yeah.
And yeah, we were so lucky to see them mingling with another pod.
Yeah, and there was a calf as well in the pod, so that was really cool.
So cool. And like Charlotte said, we saw them, we sat out at the lighthouse, we saw them going right past us. We followed them up the coast a little bit, but they were a bit further out when we went up there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's another location that was really good seeing Orca.
Yeah, it was really good. There was one time that they passed by us heading west, and then we just thought, look, we're just going to sit and wait and hope they come back back east again. And yeah, they did. So our time sitting there paid off really, and they passed by us again, which was really great. We then continued our journey up the coast, and we went up to John o' Groats, where we were then lucky enough to see Orca and Trinky again. Yeah,
it was amazing. This time we'd booked a passenger ferry over to Orkney, so it takes you between John o' Groats and Orkney, and obviously it heightens your chances of seeing Orca because you're out on the water.
Yeah.
And yeah, we timed this journey perfect, because for the time we were there, I think we was at John o' Groats for about 2 weeks, and it was the only time we managed to see Orca when we were at John o' Groats.
Yeah, and just in the middle of that Pentland Firth, wasn't it? Yeah. It
was these two bulls that we'd seen a couple of weeks before at Fraserburgh. We saw them again just off Duncansby Head on the ferry to Orkney.
It was really great to see them again, and they passed right below us. It was a few surfaces before they sort of took off, but it was just great to see them. We then hopped on a ferry over to Orkney, and we hung around the Scapa Flow for a while, for a few days, and we were lucky enough to see a pod which were, well, they'd been spy hopping quite regularly in the Scapa Flow, and yeah, it was really great to see them.
Yeah, it's such an incredible pod to see, because sometimes with Orca, like on our trip at Duncansby, you see a couple of surfaces and they're gone in the distance.
Yeah.
This pod seemed to just be hanging around the same area. It was a big area, so you couldn't get super close because they were quite far out in the middle.
Yeah.
But there was spy hopping, there was breaching, there was everything. It was just so incredible to see.
They're really active pod, and it was really great to see them. We also had really nice weather there as well.
Rare nice weather in Scotland.
Which made it lovely just sitting out watching them, and yeah, it was really, really lovely to see them.
The first evening we saw them, it was getting quite late and they were right in the distance, but we could still see them spy hopping.
Yeah.
So the footage was a little bit shaky and it's not the clearest, but it was still really nice to see them behaving like that.
Yeah, and then we managed to see them again further around the Scapa Flow, where they did come quite a bit closer, and that was just great to see.
Yeah, we were doing a few coastal walks, just trying to see if we could get better angles of them.
Yeah.
And then it was getting quite late on and they went right past us.
Yeah.
And they were spy hopping again as well.
Yeah.
There was a lot of wind, so again the footage isn't the best, but we're just happy we got to see it and we got kind of some footage of it.
Yeah, it was a really, really great start to the year.
Yeah.
So after those amazing trips, we then hopped on another ferry over to Shetland for our first trip of the year. We were here for over 2.5 months, so we were here for quite a long time, and we were really hoping that in that time we were going to see Orca, and we did.
Little did we know, we saw Orca on our second day.
Yeah.
We saw Bull 18 in really close at Spiggy and St Ninians. When I say close, we were walking along the beach and he must have been about 20 metres, no more than 20 metres away from us.
It was incredible.
He was just slowly surfacing up and down. He was there for ages.
Yeah, it was really great to see Bull 18 because we had seen him the year before, but we hadn't seen him as well. He was quite far out, travelling along the east coast.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was really cool to see him really well, like really close up.
And then straight off the bat of that trip, we thought, oh, we may as well go home now because nothing's going to beat that.
Yeah.
And little did we know that night we'd end up seeing the 27s pod.
Yeah.
A pod that we've seen before, but it was the first time this year we'd seen them.
Yeah.
We managed to see them pass us by really close by a pier. Then we managed to follow them across the coast and we were following them till about 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Until they eventually went off into the distance and we ended up losing the light.
Yeah. We were very lucky because we came in June and July. The days were very long.
Yeah.
So we had maximum time to try and spot these orca, and we had a number of encounters with the 27s pods over our 2.5 months. So it was really, really, really great.
So just after this amazing encounter, the very next day, we didn't know our minds were about to get completely blown away because we'd see the 27s again, and the 27s pod turned up and we stayed with them for about 40 minutes. They were going right past our feet. They were feeding, they were like checking us out. It was so amazing. I don't think any orca encounter we'll ever have will beat that, because they were literally, you felt like you could touch them. And they were so close, you could see their eyes, you could hear them breathing, you could see how powerful they were when they were just going up to the seals and dragging them off under the water. And yeah, it was just such an incredible encounter. And that was on our third day. And we thought, well, we're never going to beat this again. And then we did end up seeing the 27s on a number more occasions on our trip, on our 2.5 month trip. We saw them at St Ninians, where we saw the bull. And we got a really good sort of bird's eye view from them. We're about, I don't know, maybe 5 meters above them on the headland, and they were going right below us. Again, we could see their eyes. The water was crystal clear, so you could see like their saddle patches, you could see everything. And thankfully there was like hardly any wind, and it was so clear, you could just see them doing what they do. And yeah, we had a number of encounters that were so good on this trip. It was just incredible.
So besides the 27th pod, another pod that we managed to catch a glimpse of were the 19s, which is Moose's pod, and we were quite lucky. It was the day before my birthday, so I felt like they turned up just as a birthday present. We didn't see them close, and they were passing quite far out on the horizon, but it was really great to see them, and it's a pod that we have seen previously here on Shetland, so it was lovely to get to see that pod again. And another pod we actually got to see very briefly again was the 65s and Buster. So we tried our best to see them, but the light was not on our side. They did turn up. I think we briefly saw a fin. We've got the most rubbish video of a very, very faded fin in the distance, but we vaguely saw Buster, which was really cool, but we need to see him better, and that's one of our missions going forward, that we will see Buster and the Buster and the 65s really well, but that'll take a bit more time, I think. So after our epic 2 months in Shetland, we then wanted to try and see John Cone Aquarius again. So we headed over to the Isle of Skye and we sat at Nice Point in the hope of seeing the two boys pass by. And after about 6 days,
5 days.
5 days, we were lucky enough to see two fins pass by, and it was absolutely amazing to see the two boys again for the second time this year, which is just really, really great.
And again, the weather wasn't on our side for most of that trip. It was horrific.
Yeah.
We had like gale force winds again, torrential rain. Some days we couldn't leave the van, but yeah, on that 5th day we managed to get out. We got down at Nice Point, and then I think we must have been down there for about 10 hours maybe.
Yeah.
And then yeah, we saw them right off the end of the rocks again.
Yeah, we were so lucky. It was just amazing. We were so happy to have seen them, and it was just before like the sun was gonna set. So yeah, we felt just overjoyed that we managed to hold off, and we persevered, and we managed to see them.
It always feels so different as well, seeing John Cone Aquarius. I don't know what it is,
It does.
but yeah, when you see them, it's just so special. And because there's only 2 of them, and these guys get seen in Ireland, they get seen in Wales, they've been seen off Cornwall before, so it's not like they're in the area. They could be literally anywhere.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
you time it just like, it's just, you can't explain it.
Yeah.
Like, you're there at the same time that they're passing by. You don't know they're going to be there. You don't know, the second they turn up is like the first thing you know about it.
Yeah.
And it's, you spend hours and hours looking for them 2 black fins. Then when you actually see them, it's just like it's sort of a dream and it's not really happening.
Yeah, it is incredible. It does feel really magical whenever we see them.
Yeah.
And as soon as you see them, you want to see them again.
Yeah.
It's just really
quite addictive.
Yeah.
We're so lucky to have seen these guys 3 times so far.
Yeah.
And we really hope we get to make that more than 3 times.
I
So
hope
we'll definitely be trying to see them again.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Hopefully another few times in 2023.
Yeah, if you haven't checked out our John Cone Aquarius films yet, we have got 2 films which are just completely about them 2 adventures, so go and check them out.
Definitely.
So as we said earlier, we're now back on Shetland for our 2nd trip over here of the year. This time it's winter, it's a lot colder, it gets dark at like 3 o'clock, there's gales.
Yeah.
Still in short. But yeah, the daylight makes it a lot harder to get sightings because you're only out for a limited amount of time.
Yeah.
And then on them days when the weather's horrific, there's some days you can't even like leave the van.
No,
so
the wind has been really, really bad. We've had some really bad gales.
yeah.
The island ferries and the Northlink ferries have all been shut off, so it's kind of been an experience being here, and it's made sort of orca watching quite challenging.
At the beginning of the trip, we were beginning to think we probably wouldn't even see orca on this trip.
Yeah.
But then we did have a number of encounters with the 27s pod yet again.
Yeah.
Some of the encounters, they were like, the weather was really bad, it was really misty. They were fairly close, but there's only so much you can do with your cameras when the weather's like that.
Yeah.
But then we did have one really good encounter at the south end of the island.
Yeah.
Where they did go right past us again.
Yeah, they were in hunt mode and they were followed by a big flock of birds, and you can see the birds were like picking off whatever they were hunting, and they went quite close to us. We were standing on the edge of the rocks, and yeah, they came right past us, round the edge of the headland, and they headed into West Voe, and it actually looked like they were hunting porpoises, which was something we've never seen before, and we didn't realise that at the time until we looked back on our footage. And yeah, we've got a clip of them chucking a
porpoise being launched out of the water
into the air, which is just incredible. It's just we were quite far away, so we couldn't, the camera was on like full zoom, but yeah, that was really amazing.
And also when they went past us just before they went into the Voe, they were showing their pectoral fins and they were spy hopping.
Yeah.
So yeah, they were in quite close there. Again, it was quite windy, but we did our best with the footage, and it was just so amazing to get another encounter like that to finish the year off with.
Absolutely, it was really great.
And just as we're talking, there's a nice big dark cloud and rainbow. So it might look sunny over this end, but it can be a bit deceiving.
It can. And talking of bad weather, we did have one encounter with the 27s on this trip where the weather was not on our side. It was chucking it down with rain, but we spotted them from the van and we ran down this headland and through loads of bog. The rain was just pouring in.
Sheets of rain everywhere.
Yeah, but we saw them, and we've got some quite cool footage of the pod, all 7 of them sticking quite close together in the stormy seas with loads of rain chucking it down. So it was a really cool encounter as well.
It was worth running around in shorts over all the mud and the bogs to see them again.
Yeah. So 2022 has been an absolutely brilliant year for us for seeing orca, and we're really hoping that 2023 will have just as much luck. Hopefully
we see some big black fins again in 2023.
I hope so. Thank you so much for watching this film. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you next time.
In a bit.
Bye.